Hi, Roy.
Hello, Natalie. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Nice to have you on our podcast and looking forward to digging in with you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, why don't you share with our listeners a little bit about you and what you want them to know?
Okay. Well, I've been coaching for about 30 years and I love coaching, and off and on. I've had many different careers and I keep gravitating back to coaching. And how I got to know you was I was looking at forwarding, as a coach, I'm always looking to train and develop myself. And I found you through my research, and I thought, wow, this is a fit for me. I love what these people are up to. So that's how I got here. I got to know you and the people in Canada Coaching Academy, and I find your academy really valuable. How you be with us, how you allow us to discover what there is to discover in the world of coaching and training and development. So I'm when you asked me to be on this podcast, I was really excited because it I find that coaching is all about having people discover for themselves what is working and what doesn't work in their life so they can take it on and they can progress at their speed, which is exactly what you're all about. So that's how I got here, and that's a bit about me. And I love coaching. I'm in my 70s now. I just turned 70, and I really saw this thing around it's it's the whole conversation around aging, and I'm getting younger versus older. It's my experience, and that I attribute that to continually training and developing myself right till my last breath. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And there's so much information out here now, the access to the internet, and that whole world of what's actually available to us now. And that, no, I'm not retiring, I'm going for it. I'm altering my career and I'm taking on coaching to a full level. And that's just a little bit about me, and I could go on and on about that, and I won't. So
Well, so I love what you said about going at your own speed. And I'm going to check in on something with you because
sure.
I spoke to Kelly, who was your facilitator for your
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
And I think she said when you first came into the Life and Wellness program, there was some resistance
Yeah.
in learning. And can you tell me a little bit about, because since then you've jumped into all the other courses and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
just really deeply embedded. So what was that about for you? What was that like for you?
Oh, great question. Thank you for asking that. What I saw was the resistance was around the the human ego, around I know this. So I saw I was there were some things that my instructor was Kelly was leading, and I thought, well, I already know this, and what is this? And I paid this money, and I heard my brain doing that thing,
Yeah.
and I thought, whoa, wait a minute. And I met with Kelly, and she is such an incredible instructor that all she did was just be with my communication. She didn't try to fix anything. She didn't try to change my perspective. She just got my communication. And then I heard myself go, I already know this. And you of all people know this, that a master knows that they know no thing or they know nothing. And I
Yeah.
went, oh my God, I'm acting like I know it all. And that there it is right there. Lean into what I know, contribute versus be that I know. And so that's what happened. And I brought beginner's mind to my class with Kelly. And that was so exciting for me to just let go at this age that I know something. Because really I know no thing. And so it allowed me to experience what knowledge there is to be gained from being in Canada Coaching Academy, which
Hmm.
then has done nothing but forward my own coaching with my clients, because I stopped having the answer for them, and then I was able to actually be with what it is that they're communicating. And so the richness of our conversations, my own practices, has gotten really, it's really extraordinary. So, I'm
That's an
grateful to
important
Kelly for that.
Yeah, well, Kelly's awesome. She's really, all our team is so good.
Mm,
Just passionate, and they're really come at their, at coaching from an authentic place, right? They're
mhm,
and
mhm,
breathing the coaching mindset every day. When you talk about being a coach for a number of years before coming to a certification, what was the motivation for you to first seek out certification since you'd been doing it for so long?
mhm,
I'm curious about what you just talked about, is that shift in your coaching that you
mm.
experienced.
Well, I was, what brought me to certification was there's, I'm expanding my business now full time. And when I was looking around the internet and we all do discovery calls when with people. And the thing that started showing up was, well, what's your qualifications? And
Mm,
are you certified? The question started to be asked. And then when I say, well, no, but I have this many years of training and this is what I've done, and da, 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 it, it, I never heard from them again. So I started looking at, well, what does it take to become certified? Like, I don't, who wants to lose customers? Who wants to lose clients? So, and then I started to look at, well, the training that I would get, even if I didn't have new customers out of it, would be amazing. So, what is there actually available from taking on the training to be able to provide that to the customer or client? So, I shifted my mindset, and then I went through a whole process of I need the three letters behind my name, and that's got to go on my website. And I started to see my attachment to the letters
mm,
versus, whoa, what's the training that will be available for the client through taking training? Yes, the letters will come when I do the work and I put the time in, and that's all valid. However, really, what I'm able to provide to people through your organization and through the International Coaching Federation is really extraordinary for the customers. So I started applying everything I've learned to reorganizing my coaching style, and I found it to be extraordinary. And the referrals are coming by themselves from that, even without the accreditation. They're starting to show up. Well, I've heard about this. I've heard about this guy, and I heard my friend referred you, and like it goes like that. So I took it on, and I hired a web developer, and he's putting it all together now. And I'm really proud to say that I'm a graduate of Canada Coaching Academy, and I'm in continuous learning with the organization. So that's why I took on the advanced course as well. It's like
yeah,
I saw it.
starting next week.
Yeah, it starts next week, and I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, that's so
I'm
fun.
just stoked.
So, okay, so you started to see a need for certification from
Mhm.
clients inquiring, which is really, I think that's an indication of where this professional space is going.
Yes.
And it's come a long way since I started.
Yeah.
So now you said that you said something interesting. You said it's not the training for me, it's the training for the client.
Mhm.
What do you think the client's getting now that they didn't get before?
Well, what I can see is that I'm out of the way, number one, with my own opinions and points of view. And I'm a quick study, so I've always had the answer. And in school, I was the first person to raise my hand. I'm the smart one in the class. And yes, that is it's an attribute, but it's also has an opposite effect. People
Hmm.
cannot listen because I have the answer, and I've been called a know-it-all more than once. So that that has diminished dramatically from taking certification. So if I'm a know-it-all working with people, then I'm actually missing the nuances of what they came to coaching for, because I have the answer, don't you
Hmm.
know? So when I remove that out of there, people are then able to discover for themselves nuances that I wouldn't be able to see coming from the context of I know the answer. So
Hmm.
they develop themselves at their speed from what they want to see. Now I was trained I took a 12-year training program where it was very, very intense and in my face all the time. And I became what's called coachable. However, there was a cost to that. That's not for everybody. That in your face style of coaching, that doesn't work for a lot of people. And they miss out the opportunity of what it is to actually have a coach standing for them to discover what's possible. And I see that as what's now available through, your training, and what you're providing is to actually be for another, that on standing shoulder to shoulder with them, or having their back as they uncover what they need, that they want to uncover at their speed. And it actually lands for them, is what I'm finding. So that is, to answer your question, it's all about them versus about me, really. And that's been humbling.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I went through that same kind of awakening, I think, myself, when I, just in the years that I've been learning coaching and continuous education. And so what comes to mind actually is this idea of, some people say coaching is a soft skill. What would you say to that in terms of, like, so we're creating space for a client to develop their own thinking, develop ideas. I love that metaphor of standing with you in a coaching conversation, because we really truly are co-creating and partnering with the client. What would you say to this, sort of suggestion that coaching is a soft skill?
Well, yeah, I can get that some people's point of view. However, I challenge them to stand for another and actually be with people's communication. To actually be with what people are saying, I think is an extraordinary skill, and not soft at all. Because to be with another and what they're actually dealing with, and have compassion for them, and then support them to uncover for themselves what isn't working and what can work, is really an extraordinary skill. And it isn't for the faint of heart, in my experience. I've known coaches who, after a while, they do not like being with other people's challenges. It is one thing to say that you can be with another person. It's another to actually experience it day after day, year after year, month after month, moment by moment. To be with what someone's dealing with from compassion is a skill set in itself. And I've trained many coaches in my time, and will continue to do that and mentor people. And I have a saying that you want to coach someone, expect your life to come back to you times 10. So if one isn't willing to develop themselves times 10, or be under the microscope of what it is we're dealing with as humans, and live in a fishbowl, and be willing to share what's going on over here with me, and be able to transform it in a heartbeat, then it's, that's not a soft skill, to be able to look this direction over here with me, and what's working, what's not working, to be coachable, and willing to train and develop oneself. If one isn't willing to do that, then then it is a soft skill.
Yeah, and I think that, it comes from, thinking that communication is somehow a soft skill, when in fact, to be skillful in communication is really to learn the difference between hearing and listening, to learn the difference between empowering and disempowering, to be present to others, and to really be able to, it's much easier to project ourselves onto others than to receive.
Isn't
right?
it?
To open ourselves up to receiving, to put our egos aside, as you say, to wait, right? To why am I speaking? That kind of thing. That thinking. And I think that the opportunity for coaching is really about helping people step into their potential I know that becomes cliche after a while, but it really is about giving someone the gift of seeing themselves reflected by the coach back to themselves,
Mhm.
right? It's almost like it really is like I'm meeting myself for the first time through your reflection of me, with your questions and your curiosity and your
Mhm.
noticing your body language, the words I'm using, the tonality, all those things put together give me a perception of myself that I can't possibly know because I can't be
Mhm.
objective to myself in that way,
Mhm.
right? So this idea of just partnering. So um what is the greatest opportunity do you think for someone who, let's say, wants to become a coach, has no training, but looking for, the what is this about? Is there a career opportunity for me? Because I guess maybe if you speak about how your career started, like how did you start to develop your coaching practice? And
Mhm.
maybe, what do you see as the opportunity from there?
Yeah. Oh, great. I started years and years ago working in child protection,
Hmm.
and I started working with at-risk youth. And you're basically what happens is when you say you're willing to work with at-risk youth, no one tells you a thing. They just basically put you in a room with a criminal 15-year-old who's just come out of jail and go, well, work it out, take them shopping, go have lunch with them. That's how I
Mm.
started. And so I developed being able to be with anything that's coming my way, anything from teenage prostitution to teenage drug use to teenage thievery to um, you could just imagine what goes on in cities with 15-year-old to 15-year-olds. So I developed an expertise on how to be with whatever communication was coming at me. And then with that, being able to give it back to them to support them to be able to find their way in life. And then have them discover for themselves that, well, what are the consequences when I'm 18 and I'm an adult and I'm continuing to steal? What will happen if I start pimping out my younger brother? Like
Mm.
these types of things I was witness to as a child protection worker for I did that career for about 20 years. So I saw that it was all in the world of coaching them to discover for themselves a life that was going to serve them. So because you can't tell a 15-year-old what to do. That's basically how they turn into criminals, is someone keeps telling them how they're going to live their life. And that those types of behaviors are acting out, no, you're not going to. I'm going to go the opposite way. So coaching is it becomes a place where if a person is a type of person that knows themselves as someone who wants to put their heart into something, wants to make a difference for humanity, and sees that they love people, that they really just want to be with others and support them through what it is they're dealing with from a non-judgmental and a compassionate place, then coaching's for you.
Mm.
And then there's the developing oneself to actually become the coach. What training classes are you willing to take? One of my favorite courses along the way, other than you guys, is I did a play course one time at the Justice Institute in New West in Vancouver, out of Vancouver, and it was all about being able to play with teenage criminals, and that was an astounding thing because mostly people come at teenage criminals with a lot of significance and you're going to listen to me so that you don't become a criminal the rest of your life, and I got the answer for you. It's like, well, they don't listen to you then. So
Mm.
but playing with them and kicking a soccer ball around the local park, or this one guy that he had a thought disorder, wasn't a criminal, but he really wanted to go to the drugstore and get eyebrow pencil. And I thought, okay, well, let's go to London Drugs and get eyebrow pencil. Well, he came out of the washroom when we went to lunch with, he had drawn a mustache on his face. And he really wanted to have a mustache and he couldn't grow one. And I didn't make it wrong. I just was like, okay, you want to draw a mustache on yourself? You You go ahead and you do that. So coaching is, I'm sharing that because a coach is someone who can be with any behavior, any way a person is, or isn't for that matter. So if that's the type of person that you are, that you find yourself in as a non-judgmental person, or you want to train yourself to be non-judgmental and actually be with humanity the way it is and the way it isn't, then coaching's for you. And that is not a soft skill. That's an
Yeah.
acquired,
Yeah.
loving, generous skill.
I mean, we
So
could say that, self-management is the difference between a good and a great coach, right?
yeah, it is. It is. So, I encourage anyone who wants to develop themselves from nothing to go for it. Because if you have a passion for people and you have a passion for being with someone, the training is out there to take. It's got to start from your heart, and then the training comes naturally.
Mm. So tell me a little bit about your current practice. I understand that you're doing some relationship coaching.
I do relationship coaching, and I love this part of my career now, stepping into relationship coaching, because if people come to relationship coaching I'm part of an organization called Love Over Fear, and I contract work with them, and I also have my own clients as well. So most coaches, we're part of various organizations, and we have our own practices, and we also work with other organizations, which is part of the business.
Yeah.
And this particular Love Understood is, people come to it because it's all over there. Somebody else, my partner's really annoying me, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I love that whole context, because the approach is, it's never over there. It's always turn the finger and point over here. How am I being in the relationship that person shows up that way? So it's really I love this, because people get to see how they're being, and then either transform it and or create, or if they are not in a relationship, go out and discover relationship. So I'm really, really enjoying relationship coaching, because it's to watch the light go off with a person that they're making their partner wrong, or it's I'm not doing anything. It's, I'm being perfect. They're the ones. I just love that when they see that, oh, I think it's maybe over here with me. and then my style is to have no significance either, is to bring play to it, fun. And okay, well, I have a line, and it goes, what do you see there is to be responsible for in your relationship? And they wake up. They wake up to, oh my goodness, one of my I mean, we're in coaching, we're not supposed to have favorites, but we always do. And I have this favorite. Her name is Mary. I won't say the last name. I just adore her, and she's making her partner so wrong. And he finally came to the sessions, and she saw the other day when we were in a session with because I do group sessions as well. She saw that he was wrong if he was doing something for her, and he was wrong if he wasn't doing something for her. And she went like, oh my God, you don't stand a chance. I make you wrong when you're never enough. And it was like the most amazing thing to see the two of them just turn to each other and be in love again.
Mm.
It was such a delight for me. And I just, and when she finally acknowledged that, he's this big, tough guy, and just all heart, right? But he's big and kind of tough. And he started getting tears in his eyes that when she said that, because he's in for the long haul, and they're not his kids. There's 3 kids. He's the father that's come in and taken over the parent role. And
wow. Yeah.
just lovely, lovely people. But that's what happens in relationship coaching when people take full responsibility for themselves. So, that's
Well,
the
it
long
also
version
sounds
around.
like you created a space for this, this person, this man, I guess, to feel seen and heard, and that feeling that you mentioned where the tears come. I think it's that, oh my God, you see me, you finally hear me,
Yeah.
you finally get me, right?
Yeah.
So
That's exactly that's bang on. That's exactly what happened.
yeah,
And he actually even said that. You know, I finally feel like you see me, and that I'm here to contribute to this family, and I love you, and I love the kids, and you know, it's just delightful.
yeah, I've seen people, I mean, if you want to be, let's do a little bit of stereotyping. CEOs, alpha personalities, corporate, C-suite people who you would think are not going to, maybe embrace coaching as much. And you bring your skills, you bring your framework, you create that space, you come in with open-ended inquiry, and you watch how people melt, because it's almost as if we're always in competition with each other in conversation in society. Who said the smartest thing, the wittiest thing, the most, transformational thing? Who's contributing smarter, better, faster,
Yeah.
So this idea that you come to a conversation and it's a space created for you to discover yourself, that can be pretty powerful. So those tears come, I think, in most conversations anyway that I have, and it's that moment where the person feels seen and heard, maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
And so what I want to ask you, because I know a lot of our coaches and a lot of people wonder, what do I need to get into relationship coaching? Like, what's different about relationship coaching compared to a one-on-one session for you?
Well, great question. What it takes to get into relationship coaching is one of turning the finger over here and going, where am I at with relationships? Where am I at with my own relationship? Where am I at with relationship to the people around me? Because relationship coaching isn't just about being with someone you're already in a relationship. It's about taking responsibility for how I, as an individual, show up in the world, and who am I attracting from who am I being. So it takes some work to actually, and the willingness to look for oneself when you get into the world of relationship coaching. Who am I being for others around me? And it's not for the faint of heart, because if one isn't willing to actually look, even if someone is being annoying, and they clearly are being annoying, well, who am I being that they're annoying showing up around me? How come every time someone shows up around me, they seem to be annoying? So it's that willingness to go, oh, it isn't over there, it's over here with me. So this is one of the things that I love about relationship coaching, is the ongoing practice of turning the mirror over this way and going, who am I being in the world right now? What is there for me to take on in my own development? How do I need to be with this person for them to show up to their greatest? Because like you said, Natalie, it's way too easy to just go, they're this and they're that, and I'm smarter, and if they would just go away, and I'm way smarter, I got way more money. That's too easy.
So it sounds like, okay, this is an interesting space. Like, it sounds like you might be the coach for the person looking for a relationship, as opposed to
that's mainly who comes my way.
Really? Okay, that's so neat.
That's mainly because what they find out is they attract the same man or woman, or I mean, I have same-sex people as well. So I have the full range, and from transgender to two-spirited to, I have nothing about any of that. It's all about relationship. And my clients are from Australia to Canada, like through the US, Asia. It's the same conversation all through the world, that if it's over there with them, then they're not looking over here at themselves with who are they being, how are they showing up in relationship. One of my clients in England, she has found this man who she just adores, and they found each other, discovered each other. And the challenge that she's dealing with is her old ways keep showing up. So her coaching sessions are empowering her to identify the old ways so that she doesn't default and into those old neural pathways. You know, you're very aware of neural pathways are things that are they take lifetimes to make. And if we don't create a new way of being, what happens is we default back to our old ways of operating in relationship. And then we wonder, like, well, why am I attracting the same person? The old why questions versus, well, what behavior am I exhibiting that keeps attracting the same person? So I work a lot with having people develop the what questions that they ask themselves. And we stay right away from the why. Why is this happening to me? Because why questions I find are they're victim questions. They keep victimizing the person back into their old ways of operating. And this is I'm finding a lot of success in having the person discover again for themselves, how am I being? What actions am I taking that I keep showing up with people that are really not good for me? So we do a lot of work as well in the world of what am I willing to participate with? What am I unwilling to participate with? What's workable for me? What's unworkable for me? So mostly in relationship coaching, people do not have the concept of that concept, and it's really new for them. Is workability in one's life comes from, well, what am I willing to participate in with someone, and what am I unwilling to participate with? So we discern through everything from how they eat together, how they go on dates, to their sexuality, you know, and again, it's their willingness to share about what they want to share. Some people are really forthright and others are not, and I never press at them. I'm always like, well, what about this aspect? What about this? How's that going for you? And then they start to see, oh, I give in to partners versus go, and I don't declare what's workable and unworkable for me. See, my thing is I stay out of the world of boundaries, because I experience the word boundary as a box that I'm now going to live in. And you can't come into that space. Where versus when one is questioning, well, what's workable for me? Does that behavior work for me that they're exhibiting? No, it actually doesn't. So therefore, I can actually be empowered to say, I'm unwilling to go participate with you in that. And, you know, it allows some space for people to experience humanity versus I'm not stepping out of this box of my boundary. Now, I'm not saying never have boundaries, because boundaries are very valid for people to get themselves started. But I invite people to step into the world of, well, what are you willing to participate with? What are you unwilling to participate with? So they start taking full responsibility for where they're at in relationship. So
that sounds like really a great space to be in as a coach, because I mean, ultimately, what are we all searching for? It's this connection, community, you know, that relationship with someone to feel fulfilled in life, right? And that partnering. So that's an interesting kind of, a space of relationship where you're really working on the individual to attract the right relationship.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Well, I love Joe Dispenza's work where he talks about what are we putting into the quantum field. Yeah. Well, we used to call it what are we attracting in the universe? But this whole notion of what am I actually putting out in front of me is such a cool place to look. Whoa, look at that. I'm putting out being submissive, so I attract dominating people. Or I'm putting out, you're not going to hurt me, so I attract people that are attempt to hurt me. So like that level of responsibility to what is it you're actually wanting to put out. What is it that you're actually wanting to create? And you hit the nail on the head. People want love and affinity in their life. So, you know, I work with them to actually create love and affinity. Where is it in your life you can actually apply love and affinity? And I'm not a strong proponent of dating apps either. I don't tell people to ever get off of them, but I'm not a proponent of them because there's a lot of false representation going on them. And it's very challenging for people to discern through the various things that are going on. And my thing that I take on with people is, okay, what is it you're passionate about? Is it sport? Is it books? Is it yoga? Is it meditation? What is it that you're really passionate about? And people often will say, I love going on hikes, but I don't know. Okay, well, every town has a hiking group. Every town has a meditation group. Nowadays, there's groups that are starting to form. So find it out. Go and be with others. Be with them. You want to find dates? Go find people of the same interest that you are. If it's a meditation group or a book group. And I'm finding a lot of success for the individuals who start getting out into the community and going and actually participating. Because mostly what dating apps, there's no smell nuance, there's no neurons firing back and forth about, it's all fantasy versus the reality of who is in front of me. Do I like their look? Do I like their height? What are they wearing? How are they being? And that's what, you know, for tens of thousands of years, that's how we've found each other, is by being with each other. So dating apps are great for the people that own them, and they make a lot of money off of them, and I don't see a lot of success on them. Now, I'm not saying not everyone. Some people do find success in relationship through them, and I also encourage people to just get out there in the world, be passionate, discover your passion, go participate in what you're passionate about. So, you know, and be in relationship with the community around you, and then your love of your life will automatically be in that space, because we're out in the quantum field participating in life. And I love that, you know, supporting people and one of my exercises I do with them is, send me a picture of something that you're really passionate about. And I get everything from pictures of buildings to flowers to seascapes and I just love that. What are you passionate about? Send it to me. You know, be involved in your life. So they end up finding loves when they're involved. So you can hear my passion for it, eh?
Yeah, it's so good to, first of all, to hear some old-fashioned, you know, methods in meeting people, because everybody's about the online space. And I think some people, you know, it's a bit scary to get out there sometimes and to find the places to go. And then also, like, I think with COVID, a lot of people started working from home, started interacting so much less in the world, right? And you get used to that less, like you kind of find yourself not really knowing what to do. But what you said about energy is so important, I think. You know, connection, it's so much more than just a good conversation or a nice picture. It's about that interaction and the energy and even like you said, the way the person is being, like, how are they carrying themselves? Like, it's this, you know, and that's the whole body experience of dating, but it's kind of like that whole person experience of coaching that we talk about, right? It's not just about your professional self or your personal self. It's the whole person experience that is really, I think, what coaching honors and brings together and makes room for. So really, really neat. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of like connection and community, you know, you've been a part of the Canada Coach Academy for a little while. You've taken a foundations course, you're going into the advanced program, you took what, I don't know, did you take all of our micro courses?
I took Demystifying Goals, and we're just completing Compassion, and I'm
Okay.
registered for the Grief
All right,
course in September. Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
So what can you say about community when you're learning to become a coach?
Oh, another great question. Wow. Um, and this is one of the things I love about Canada Coaching Academy is the sense of community. And not even sense, there is a community of people who we get to be our authentic self. And you and the other coaches in the organization create this space of, in when we start every class, it's here are the guidelines, making sure that you love, honor, and respect the people in your program, that this is a confidential space. Like being reminded of what community is every week, I have loved, because every week I hear it differently. And I from this experience know in my heart that the community has my back, that I
Mm,
could go to anyone in there, and have gone to, we coach each other for our courses, and the things that I've gained from people has been extraordinary. And so community always provides that sense of we're all standing shoulder to shoulder. If there's 8 of us in a class, then there's 8 of us all standing next to each other. Like, I got you, whatever you're dealing with, I got you. And then I'm left with, wow, I'm actually able to contribute to another human being and know that they've got my back. And so we learn together. And then I love that we post things every week. Not
mm,
everybody posts, but I wouldn't miss it for the world to
mm.
post. And that's one of my favorite things to do in the learning, is to post what I'm getting, because I'm out to contribute to others and have them contribute to me. So that's what community is providing, is that sense of safety and belonging. And hey, if there's some concepts that were like, well, wait a minute, I'm not quite getting that, I've had people reach out to me and book a call, and I've reached out to others and like, oh, that's what Natalie or Kelly were talking about. Oh, now it makes sense. And sometimes we don't always want to raise our hand, and like, I don't want to look silly in class, and like not everybody wants
Yeah.
to share. So the community's always got you, and I love that about Canada Coaching Academy. The sense of community really is extraordinary.
Yeah, I love that too. And I think it's not like it's the people who come, uh, I always go back to that, if you build it, they will come, feel the dreams quote, Kevin
Yeah,
Costner movie. Like
yeah, yeah.
this idea of building something where people are attracted because they believe what you believe. And then they come and it becomes this experience of, exactly what you're describing. And I think, that idea of, well, I mean, something that you said, which is, I think resonates with a lot of people because people talk about it. It's this, intimidation of going back to school after a certain
Yeah.
amount of time out of school, like 30, 40 years later for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And then feeling like you're, a little bit shy or just nervous to participate.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how groups come together, strangers, like you said, 8 people in a room online from all over the place, right? World, somewhere overseas, US, Canada, wherever. And we create these, I marvel at the spaces that are being created. The
Mm-hmm.
safety that they bring to the group, and that like connection that I have groups, especially right now, I don't know what it is, they are so connected. I have one group that they all met in person the night before their last class.
Oh
There were
my
one of
God.
them from Ontario, like greater GTA area. There was a few from Manitoba. They
Oh
all met
my,
in person and they sent me
oh
a
my
selfie.
God.
It was so fun. And then we met the next day.
Oh,
It was their last class. There were only 2 of them missing. They were out west in BC.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my God, it was so fun to see that. And I thought,
yeah,
man, people are going to be lifelong friends. They're going to be
yeah,
lifelong friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that I have that same sentiment. And one of my former classmates from my first course, she needed a mentor coaching session, and she reached out, and I'm a busy guy, and I made my time available for her so that she could do her mentoring thing, and her coaching was bang on. And I got so much value out of it. And she got to then submit her 30-minute mentor coaching thing to her instructor and complete her course. And so to be available to her in the midst of my day was like, of course I would do that. Of course. There is no, I'm too busy for you. It's no, yeah, what do you need? And so, and that's how that goes. So I'm stoked to find out who's in the advanced course from I don't know yet, because you're not allowed to tell until I find out on Monday. It looks like who's going to be in there.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, Roy, I'm taking up a lot of your time.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I've enjoyed every second of this.
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking us down a journey of just your career path and your thoughts on coaching. Is there anything that you would want to share with someone listening who's thinking about becoming a coach or thinking about even finding a coach? What would you say to them?
Okay, what I would say for them is go for it. Don't listen to the brain of, oh, I can't do this. Listen to your heart. If you have a passion for coaching, and this is something that you're actually interested in, and you know who you are, I'm talking to you, go for it. Go for it. Let yourself just discover the learning. The learning is so fun. And it's the heart that is coaching. You will learn how to coach. And those of you who are looking for coaches, again, go for it. The right coach will show up for you when you actually declare, and again, you know who you are, you're looking for coaching, the right coach will show up for you. They always do. And they'll be exactly the person for you. And it's all in faith that what you will discover will bring you value. Because as coaches, we are all about that the client discovers value for themselves, that you discover an authentic way to live, the life of your dreams, the one you long for, the relationship you long for, and the coach is there to stand with you side by side. They got your back. So take it on.
And as you're saying that, I'm just thinking, I know there's a lot of coaches out there who are finishing their programs and thinking about, how do I build my business now? And you've had a lot of success establishing yourself as a coach. Could you give a few tips of what do you do when you're starting out?
Well, what you do is you get yourself out there, you get your website going. That's critical nowadays, to have your word and get who you are out there, and have faith in yourself is the first thing. That believe in yourself, that that you have what it takes. And because without the belief in yourself, you will put out into the quantum field struggle. So you believe in yourself, and you may have to still stay with your regular career while you transition over. And I don't recommend throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Don't just quit your career and then start and wonder why you don't have any business. So it's all with keep doing what you're doing while you develop yourself. And then you got your first client. And then typically what happens is you do a great job with your first client and they refer someone, or they repeat back. They come back as a second. I have people that I've worked with 3-4 times over a year and a half. And we're into really working and expanding people themselves. So it's all about what are you putting out, and how willing are you to train and develop yourself. Like, not only do I participate, Natalie, in Canada Coaching Academy, I study Vedic counseling. I read Rumi. So I flip through every day and read a Rumi poem. Here's today's Rumi poem, 4 lines. Here it is. If only if you only knew what bliss I found in being nothing, you would not advise me on how to live. When the sword of nothingness ends my life, I will laugh at those who mourn my death. I just love that poem. So coaching is all about finding being nothing, no thing. And when we're no thing, there's real bliss in that. And we're then able to be with people. So when we're being no thing and we're being for people, your clients will come. They will discover you because you're being an extraordinary type of human being. So remember, it's all in how you're training yourself and who you're being. And then we attract clients, and we attract ourselves to the clients, and they will show up. So that's my advice on.
Amazing. Well, no, I think that's great advice. And thank you for the poem. And thank you for your time today.
You are welcome.
How can people reach you if they want to reach you?
They can reach me. My email is roy.james2332@gmail.com, or they can phone me directly at 250-731-7740. I'm WhatsAppable or Canada-wide call. I'm open to any conversation with anyone at any time. And, I do pro bono work as well, if people are challenged. So I'm an open book and love humanity. And thank you, Natalie. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. It's been so lovely.
Thank you.
I really appreciate being able to share what I've gotten from being with you and your organization and ongoingness of Canada Coaching Academy. And our last class is tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm sad, but I'm glad too. Like, yeah, I finished another one. So it's
amazing. No, thanks for all your support in the community. And I look forward to starting the advanced with you next week.
Yes, me too. Me too. I'm stoked about that. So, all right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow and see you all on campus.